Get ready, Ravens fans.
Here it comes.
Stand the fan.
With Inside PressBox.
Go Ravens!
Get fired up, baby. Woo!
Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs. And welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. I'm your host, Stan the Fan Charles. After 5 weeks of action, the Ravens are 4-1 atop the AFC North, and they look as poised as ever to deliver Baltimore football fans another winning season. This week on the show, we'll talk about some of the potential for these Ravens with Carroll County Times Ravens beat writer Matt Zenitz. Plus, we'll talk with Ravens superfan, the Purple Dame, about the upcoming biggest little tailgate party and chili cook-off benefiting Big Brothers and Big Sisters. But first, let's get right to the O's. Tony Pente of Orioles Hangout is with me now. And Tony, it's been an unbelievable season, one that I can't recall anybody predicting would be this successful.
No, there's no way anyone predicted what was going to go on this season. I think even the most positive Oriole fan couldn't have fathomed that we were going to be sitting here in the playoffs against the Yankees, going head to head. I mean, just thinking about it, most fans would have thought if we could just get a 500 season. Let's just get away from this 14 straight years of losing seasons. Just get to 500. Most of us thought probably somewhere between a 72 and 74 wins team, but it's just an amazing run. I mean, just what Buck Showalter and this team has done this season is right up there. One of the best seasons, I think, ever in this franchise.
You know, a lot of times you like to have it such that the owner hires the general manager manager hires the manager. This was kind of all backwards because Andy McPhail hired Buck Showalter, and Showalter stayed. Andy left of his own volition, and then they hired Jim Duquette. Talk a little bit about the dynamics of those two men.
You know, it really is an interesting dynamic with them because when Buck was brought in here, he was known as an organization builder. It was more than just a manager you were getting. You were getting a guy who was going to install a philosophy throughout the organization. And it's exactly what he went about doing. He went down there the first day. He brought everybody together and basically laid it on the line right there. This was going to be a different organization from the beginning, from the time someone was drafted to the time they go through the system to the time they're hopefully playing in a playoff game like they're doing right now. It was going to be different. And you could really feel the difference in the organization last season. Even though the wins didn't really start to come, some of the things that we saw in the minor league.
The way they took the losing and the way they were working throughout the organization.
Absolutely. And you could tell like it was starting to be, there was accountability. When pitchers weren't doing well, they were moved out of the rotation or they were moved. So you started seeing that accountability we didn't see in the past with some of the other previous folks. So him coming in here was huge. Obviously this offseason, I thought we hit a low point when we had the offseason when LaCava turned down the job and it looked like no one wanted to take this job. And here comes Dan Duquette. Out of baseball for all this time. He comes in here. You started hearing through some aspects of baseball, you started having people snickering, thinking, what are we doing? You're going back in time. You're getting this guy. He's out of touch. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's running an academy in Israel. He's doing this. He's doing that. And what does he do? He comes in here and he is focused. He is focused as much as Buck Showalter was on putting a winning product on the field. And he started making moves. And it sounds small, but when he starts moving some of these C-level prospects, guys in the past the Orioles never got rid of because they're always waiting for them to make it up there. He started moving them. He started moving them. Yeah, it was guys for like Evelyn and guys for like Teagarden. But to me, that showed me something different. This was a different type of GM. He's going to be willing to move some parts to try to get guys that are going to help you win. Maybe I don't even know if Dan expected 93 wins and doing what we've done this season.
He was focused on that over 500 mark. Talk to me a little bit about this season. Of all the seasons that they picked out to suddenly burst into this, they touched on their history, a long, illustrious history of the organization. What a coincidence that was with the statues.
And it's just wonderful. Every one of those ceremonies were fantastic, and it was that connection. That's the one thing we've always seen with Oriole fans is we obviously have always been very connected to our wonderful past. The winning organization, this organization always was. I mean, when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, the Orioles were always in contention. I always expected 90 wins out of them. I didn't understand what it was like. I can remember growing up and thinking about the Cleveland Indian fans and think, how can you be a fan of a team that never is in
wins.
it?
Yep.
And then I look at my son. My son's 16 years old, and he, until this season, had never seen a winning team or really remembers a winning team. He was that type of fan. So, for them to reach back and bring in the Brookses and the Franks and the Eddies and obviously Cal and Jim Palmer and bring them all together and have these ceremonies just at the exact time that the team is starting to win on the field, it's just a
really
perfect magic.
Hey, we got just over a minute to go. OriolesHangout.com. Did you sense, at what point in the season did you sense something was different in terms of fan interest? I know your site's a popular site all the time, but it must have been moving up like PressBoxOnline.com this summer.
Sure. I mean, honestly, I would say right around as soon as the trade deadline was over, that's normally when everything goes downhill for me because everybody starts focusing on the Ravens. You still have the diehards that still care about the Orioles, but the Orioles at that point are normally out of it. But this time, you're talking about they were in it, and then you kept seeing it go in August, September, and it really was amazing how it just never let off.
All right, OriolesHangout.com. He's Tony Pente. Tony's Take is on there. Popular site. We'll get you on after the season, talk a little bit about the sustainability of this. All right?
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks
my
for
man.
having me.
Tony Pente, after the break, Ravens superfan Purple Dane gives us the details about how we can all sample some of the best chili in town while helping a good cause. Don't go away. Go to PressBoxOnline.com and register a youth team in your community for a chance to be highlighted as the PressBox Youth Team of the Month. Sponsored by Sports Authority. Go to PressBoxOnline.com for all the details.